Welcome back to the Health, Weight Loss and Wellness Show. And today we have a mystery guest called Layla. Layla runs a podcast called The Curious Girl Diaries, which is all about her sex life, sex in general, and everything in between in explicit detail. And I absolutely love this. So welcome to the show. Thanks for giving us your time.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
I just love this, and just for those watching at home, there's a reason why we're not showing our faces today, and I'll leave it to you to explain that for us.
Sure. Wow, let me go back. I'll go in my backstory here. About 5.5 years ago, I found myself in a place where I just kind of woke up one day. I had this epiphany that, oh my gosh, I haven't had sex in 3.5 years. Nobody's even touched me, nothing. And something struck me like this isn't right. This is wrong. And I kind of did this complete about face. I decided that not only was I going to change that, resurrect my sex life, bring it up from the Titanic, but I was going to podcast about it, document it anonymously so that other people could hear my story. I put this sex bucket list together, and my intention was I'm going to knock this all out in a year. I'm going to podcast about it, document it, help other people, hopefully through through them following my chronologically going through my journey. And then after a year, boom, I was done. I was out. I was anonymous the whole time, and no harm, no foul. Well, here I am 5.5 years later. Obviously what didn't stick was me just bouncing out after a year, because once you start exploring yourself sexually and really making that a priority, all these doors open. It was so much more than just that subject. But what did stick was I felt that it was still kind of really fun, interesting, and exciting for my listeners to stay anonymous, because then they could just relate to me as they saw me and what they heard from me and what resonated with them. It wouldn't be overshadowed by any age, height, weight, anything like that. I really could reach as many people as I could with this podcast and kind of my overall message. So that's what I did.
And I love the mystery of it, because it's a sexual thing and it's sexual content. I think the mystery also brings another level to it as well, because then men could fantasize and also women can fantasize, but also we're not putting our filter on it. And so I think what we might do as women is go, oh, we don't have your body, or we don't look like you, so we can't go and explore like that, or we can't go and do that. So I love that, the extra mystery, but also that filter that goes over the top, and it stops people, doing that. And so it really connects them back to themselves and helps them put themselves in that scenario or in that fantasy without like, oh, I have to be thin, or I have to be larger size, or I have to be tall or short or whatever. So I love that. And so that's why I was just quite excited to keep that mystery going for this session. And it's a bit of a relief for the eyes as well, where we can just sit and listen and really immerse ourselves in the conversation without being distracted with my plant in the background, or those sorts of things.
And I think that what I love most about this part of it, that the anonymous part of it, is that really there is a curious girl inside of every woman. And there's also in every man there's a side of him that would love to meet a curious girl, someone that has those attributes. It's just that devil may care, throw caution to the wind. I'm sexually empowered. I love it, and I bring that confidence to my sexual partners, but also just to my life in general, because it just bleeds over and resonates kind of into everything. So it's been really fun and exciting. And I've been very blessed and privileged to be able to do it for this long.
Yeah. And look, that's an interesting point about it bleeding into other areas of your life, because we do talk about emotions or trauma or things that we're going through, how that bleeds through our lives. And for me, when I'm treating clients, I'm looking for the underlying sore, because the presenting issue might be binge eating or overeating or smoking or drugs or drinking or stress, but underneath there's a sore. So I understand how that bleeds out. And I think with the, disconnecting sexually with ourselves or with our partners or that part of us, I can see how that can bleed into different parts of our life. So, that can affect our relationships. It can reflect our relationships with ourselves and others. But, like I'm super curious about, here's the curious me. I'm super curious about, how you went from, okay, oh my God, I haven't had sex or I haven't been touched in 3.5 years. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to do it. So what do? Do you just get on Tinder and flick,
Swipe and yeah.
And I think there could be a little bit of freedom in that. It's like, all right, well, I'm just going to swipe right on anyone that tickles my fancy, because there's no expectations of anything else other than this is what I want from them.
Yes, exactly. So I want to just kind of circle back just 1 second and say, like, I want to emphasize something, is that, you said that you're usually treating, you're seeing people that have certain, I guess, negative energies that are trickling out, or negative things that they're carrying forward that are trickling out and affecting their life currently. But the converse of that is true too. So when you can create energy that flows out that's positive just as easily as you can create energy that flows out that's negative. And I think people kind of forget that. They don't really realize that point, that you really do kind of have a choice. And so what happened to me was I just made a choice where I said, oh, I kind of took my business mind and my business principles and the things that served me in that area of my life and said, I know how to structure this and I know what I need to do. And it's kind of consistency over time that got me in this no sex zone, but it can also be consistency over time that gets me into the sex zone. So I'm just going to reverse it and and take, kind of, a massive action here and put myself back on my own list, because women, as we know, we will take ourselves off the list. Everything else is a priority but ourselves. So I said, nope, that doesn't work. I'm back on the list. Then I kind of created a little plan on how to do that. And that's where I said, okay, I created I'm like, what do I want to do? Well, I'd like to accomplish some things on my sex bucket list. Why don't I make this fun and exciting?
Yeah.
So I kind of listed everything that I had fantasized about, or I thought that was sexy or erotic, any on any scope. I gave myself permission to just say, what do I think is hot? What do I think is sexy? What turns me on? What would I like? If I'm my perfect confident self, what are the things that I want to do sexually? What do I want to accomplish? So I put all those things down, and then I got on, like you said, swipe left, swipe right. Yep, I did. I got on some dating apps, and I just put it out there, and I went forward with it. And literally, no joke, 10 days later from when I had started that to 10 days later, I actually, had found someone that I liked and connected with. And I found him very sexy, and he knew the whole story. And I just said, I need to connect, and boom, I did.
Yeah, fantastic.
And just like that, the dry spell was over.
I love the whole honesty and truth in that too. And, like for the audience at home, we did start recording this yesterday and I forgot to press record. So we've had this conversation before,
Yeah.
but and it's fun to have it again. And I think we're discovering new things today. It, like you said the other day, men will come along to the party, and I can just picture them going, hell yes, running in the door, and the freedom, the freedom that comes with that, and be able to go, well, this is what I want, and go out and get it. And I love that you've taken that business approach to it, the strategic and the planning, and brought that part of you into this part of your life. And I think sometimes we've got these different parts of us, and
Yes.
so there's a part of us that goes to work, and I see this a lot. That person goes to work and they kick ass at work, but then when they get home, their ass is getting kicked, and I'm like, where did she go? Where's she?
Right.
Yes. And so,
where is that type A ass kicker that that take charge, take no prisoners woman, who all of a sudden, you take that hat off, and I actually understand that, because we want to come as women, we want to be feminine and we want to be soft, and it's really not our nature to be these type A's, just are out there doing like what, kind of really bringing forth a lot of masculine energy. And so what I had realized, really one of the biggest things I had realized, was that because of the way the business world is, and I know a lot of women are in the same boat, we have to bring that masculine energy so much for so many hours of the day that it's hard to sometimes dial that back, or also even recognize, hey, this is not really who I am. It's just who I need to be in business. And when I come home and when I'm with my partner, that's my soft place to fall. And that's where I can really, explore and be my true feminine self, and just kind of let that stuff go. But we have a hard time of, once you start really clinging to that image and identifying with that male energy, because a lot of that whole business thing is really just a lot of masculine energy. And I don't want to really wear that, like what I realized is, okay, I had sort of done myself a disservice a little bit by not understanding how I was bringing that, I put that wall up, I did it to myself. So, but the beauty of that realization is that knowing as fast as you put it up is as fast as you can take it down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like you're a single woman, so am I. And what about the married women? I'm thinking about the women who are married or been in a long-term relationship, male or female, or, male or male, female, female, or they've been in, a relationship for a long time and it's stale, or they don't feel sexually attracted to their partner anymore, or they don't feel like they've, perimenopause or menopause, dries out your vagina, kills your sex drive, you're tired and exhausted all the time. What would you suggest for those people to kind of, do you think they can reconnect and feel attracted to their partner again? I feel like a lot of relationships are in sexual wasteland, let's call it. With, I'm picturing the tumbleweed.
It's like the Mad Max of, of sex.
Yeah.
Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Yeah, I know. No, I hear this so much, but I'm here to tell you, because I after doing this for 5.5 years and really getting that same feedback from a lot of my listeners, that you absolutely can change that. You can resurrect that. And it just really starts with, I think women don't realize how, and when I say women, I just kind of want to clarify, because I know that we have, I don't want to be not inclusive of people that are in same-sex relationships. What I'm really referencing is that masculine and feminine energy. And usually when you're with the right person, there is that balance and there is that dance. And that's what kind of makes it really jibe. So when that gets thrown off, either because nobody's engaging in the masculine, feminine, everyone's just sort of like flatline, or there's too much masculine or too much feminine, sometimes it doesn't work, but you absolutely can get it back. And one of the things I tell people is just like, remember what got you to couple up or marry or commit to this person in the first place. There was a time when you guys were hot for each other. So it was there. And all you have to do is recommit to cultivating that again. And it can just be in small ways. And, it could start with just send your partner a flirty little nudie pic or an erotic pic or a suggestive pic during the day.
Yeah.
Because you turned your mind off to it. You've forgotten about the flirting, all of that, all the build up, all that fun sexual energy that gets you, that primes the pump and helps get you going.
Yeah.
So yes, I mean, you absolutely can do this. And I say make a sex bucket list. Sit down with your partner, and if you're comfortable having that conversation, talk about it and say, look, we kind of run this off in the ditch a little bit, but love you and you're my life partner, and let's explore and let's have fun.
Yeah.
What kind of things would, do really turn you on? And you can each make your list and show it to each other, or you just make your list and show it, and, and we're going to do
a lot of fun. I could picture it'd be a lot of fun having your list and then, and passing it off to the other one and seeing what they said. And, the reaction's like, really?
Totally. But I mean, I wasn't with a married partner, but I got to do this with partners where, and from my perspective, they were so excited to be able to explore and take part in this with me.
Yeah.
It's exciting for both people.
Yeah.
And especially when, you're both kind of at that same level where it's like, oh, I've never done that. Okay, let's do it. Wouldn't that be fun? I'll give you just a quick example. I went to a sex club with a partner, and because it was kind of, I felt like this is going to be fun and sexy and hot, and I want to scratch this off my list. I had no idea how erotic and sensual and what a turn on it would be to be there with someone that I really trusted and loved. And then also to have that kind of naughty edge where other people are watching and they're around, and it spices things up, and you're also like, then you're like really hot for each other. Like, that was hot. Yeah, that was hot. Yeah, you're hot. I'm hot. You're hot together. I mean, it really does exponentially combust on itself. It's like, whoa, it just lights a fire. It's really fun. Yeah.
So you've just gone through this whole exploring all these different avenues of sex, like the sex parties and stuff like that, and threesomes and all that kind of thing, and just had a lot of fun doing it. It sounds so good. I mean, okay.
Yeah, some of it was not even just like, I wouldn't, some of it's just like, I've never done, I wanted to like try some BDSM. I wanted to see if I could find a partner that could help me squirt, just like different, there's a lot on the list, and then to go through and like systematically cross it off and experience it. It's like, I think this is really the most fun we can have as adults, because Disneyland is over for us, right? But this is the adult Disneyland. So get on the ride, and you can, and just know that you can do this. It's fun to do with a partner, and and it's also fun to do by yourself. It's just as equally beneficial and brings as much value. So yeah.
I love it. I love that it's normalizing the conversation. I love that you're on here, because I feel like that helps normalize the conversation. And the other thing is we don't realize that what I kind of alluded to earlier is our sexual health is also part of our wellness. And if we have suppression in that area for whatever reason, that is also helping us not be whole, not be whole, but how do I explain that? It's like if you're not open and free completely everywhere. So I feel like that does have an effect on your mental health. Maybe you may not explore other relationships or your relationship because of this. Maybe you don't realize how uptight or tense you are, when you know that your partner's going to come at you and go, all right, I want to have sex. And you know that there's certain cues that they give you and you're just so not interested, right? So I think, that will tense up your body, and then you're going to have some walking around with tension. And on that, right, say your partner is keen and you're just really not feeling it. And that's creating some kind of tension in you. What would you suggest to people that are finding that real disconnect and disinterest? I know myself, being single, I don't even think about it, right? And so your story really resonates with me, because I could in my mindset now, I don't even think about it, and I could probably go another 10 years, which is probably terrible. And now I'm talking to you, I'm like, oh, this is something that I should really be thinking about and, looking at as like, I don't have balance here, right?
Yes.
So what would you say whether somebody's single or whether they're in a relationship and they really feel very disconnected and disinterested in sex at all?
Okay, well, I would honestly suggest for them to start, because it kind of really, the truth is we have to, as individuals, like, own it. It starts and stops with us. So if you're determined, you're not in the mindset, and you're not going to be in the mindset, you have to do something to get over that. And what I recommend is just, if you're just, whether with a partner or by yourself, I did this just for fun, because I wanted to see what it was all, really kind of tune into myself sexually, understand myself better sexually. I called it March Masturbation Madness Month, where I actually I committed, I was going to masturbate every day for, I think, what was it, 31 days in March. I had to do it. But what the fun part of that was, at first it was like, okay, I got to do this, like obligatory, like, okay, I can do anything for 31 days. Yeah. I could have 31 orgasms. Okay. Like, does that sound awful? No, it's not. But but it's funny, because there's a little bit of this mentality where it's hard to devote that time to yourself. And the what's behind that is just really just, again, putting yourself on the list and putting yourself first. And when you start to do that, your mindset shifts. And then you kind of go, oh, wait a minute. Now, I didn't actually realize there was all these little things about my body. And, and I did different things. Sometimes I would be doing it with porn. Sometimes I would be doing it with toys. Other times I would just be kind of, like I say, rocking it old school with my hand, like whatever. I just kind of shifted through that and tried all the different ways. And also, what I kind of realized was I'm mindfully masturbating. Like, I'm really present with myself in this self-love moment, and I'm building this momentum, and I'm respecting my body, and I'm feeling my body, and I'm also rediscovering all the different sexy, juicy angles that I have, and then I came out of that. I'm like, dang it. I am a sex machine. Like, women, we are really wired deep. That's the beauty of being feminine, is, we can have an orgasm so many different ways. We have the clitoris, the G spot, the A spot. I mean, there's just, and the list just goes on from there. I mean, like literally you could do a whole podcast about that, but really to kind of, it first starts with like reconnecting with yourself, and then feeling that confidence, like, yeah, okay, look at the, like this isn't just this isn't like a Toyota. This is a freaking, this body is a Ferrari, it does a lot of things. So I really find that especially I think for women, when we start to get out of our heads, and when it starts with us seeing ourselves sexually first. And then because men are visual, they see us sexually when we don't. And so when we just get back in touch with that, with our inner sexy, and the second we bring that to them, then, I mean, they're easier than we are. They're kind of good to go. So it's, I really kind of feel like we have to start with kind of getting over the discomfort and anything that makes us shy or unconfident in the bedroom, and I say, take pictures of yourself naked, take some fun, sexy little, selfies, and do that at the same time, do that once a day. And you'll be amazed at how at first it might feel uncomfortable. And then you're like, oh, you know what? Well, I really do have nice breasts, or I really do have, a beautiful backside. My legs are great. And you start to find your angles and all the ways that you're just like, yes, like, look at me, this is good. Because a lot of times we see ourselves so much more critically than,
it's,
1,000%.
Our mindset is, look at that dimple. Oh, look at my boobs are saggy. Oh,
right.
My stomach. And men are like, boobs, 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 boobs,
Right. That's all they see.
They're like,
but have you,
boobs,
I mean, haven't you ever seen yourself in a picture and you go, oh, wow, I didn't feel that. I didn't feel like like I'm seeing myself right now in that moment in this picture. And it's like better. So we kind of have to give ourselves that space to explore a little bit and not be overly critical, just explore and be open, and we will start, the tide does start to turn, because I've been there. We can all get in our head and just be like, oh, I don't have time for this, or, oh, I'm not, I'm a certain age and that's in the past or in the rearview mirror. No, we are hot and sexy.
I think, on that too is, I don't know about men might do it as well, but for women, I think that a lot of things we let a lot of things affect our sexuality. And that might be our size and shape, how we're feeling, tiredness, or, I think also with partners, there's been water under the bridge, right? And sometimes we get in this role where we're mothering them, or having to be their mother or their maid or whatever. And there's nothing sexy in that. So sometimes there's a little bit of, if you want to find attraction to that person again, there's a little bit of that needs to be resolved, I feel, where you've got to stop, being their maid and being their mother and mothering them, and, not seeing them as another child, because that's not sexy.
Okay, so I have a very simple solution for that, because I totally understand that, right? I'll put this very bluntly. No woman if you are starting to infantilize your partner, no woman wants to then engage in sexual activity with their partner.
No,
that's a turn off. That dries you up. But what you need to do is, again, I just have to say, women are, you have to realize you're in control of this.
Yeah.
You have to stop infantilizing your partner. That is a buzzkill. And turn him into, find your power in that. Just switch it a little bit. Turn the knob and think of it like, well, this is just is not, you change this is a child that I have to tell him to do this and pick up that. And he, if I don't stay on him, he won't know, his butthole from a doorknob. You have to change your mindset for 1 second and view him as like, this isn't my child. This is my naughty little sex toy. And I'm going to do what I want with him. Yeah. You can still kind of stay in that because when you're infantilizing, you as a woman are feeling like you're a little bit superior. So I'll grant everybody the grace to kind of stay in that lane a little bit, but just change it like, no, this is just my naughty little sex toy. And I'm going to do, and it could be, maybe he doesn't get to touch me. Maybe he just has to watch. Maybe he can sit in that chair. I'm pleasuring myself, and let's just watch him really fall apart and want me that bad. And he can't have it unless I say so.
Yeah.
You got to be a good boy.
I'm thinking put the full dominatrix on and get the whip and just go pick up those clothes.
Beat his ass. Well, but sometimes
jobs for you.
yeah. And all I'm saying is like, I think when women really kind of start to know themselves and understand their partners is that, sometimes women what they want is him to rise up and say no and take control. And that might help him do that. Or if you're more comfortable with that, like I said, the dominatrix role, this is just going to help you kind of get into the lane that you already really have with your partner and channel that into a sexual energy instead of this, parent-child dynamic, which is just, it's not sexy, and nobody gets excited about that. And even the recipient of that, it's a boner killer, for the guys. It's like, it's like, well, nobody wants to be treated like a child.
Yeah, I know. So, some of them need to start being adults as well, these men. And I think that just sitting down and having that conversation and even saying to them that, I don't find this attractive. This is killing our sex life, and, you do your bit.
And the reciprocal is just to, is that he probably doesn't either. Right. And just that everybody's just probably trying to keep harmony in the house. But that being said, it really does just start with somebody initiating and having this conversation like, okay, we've flatlined here. Yeah. Why don't we do stuff to spice it up? And like I said, the sex, making your sex bucket list, watching a little porn together, sending flirty pictures, starting to talk about fantasies, what you'd like to see happen. This is all stuff that's going to move you in the right direction.
Yeah. And look, I'm just thinking of a scenario as well where, even the kids would come in grumpy, or somebody would be coming in grumpy, usually the men at night. And then you'd be like, are you hungry? Is that why you're grumpy? You can easily take it on and take it personally, or you can explore and say, what is it? You need to do poo-poos, or do you need some, and then there's laughter, right? And so then that breaks it up. And I guess, like you say, we need to be in our power and know that we are powerful and we can take the reins on our lives and be in the driving seat for this. If we don't want our life to, I always say, if you want things to change, you need to change. And people will be like, yeah, but they. I'm like, no. If you want things to change, you need to change. You either accept them for who they are and get on with it and be okay with that. And, if you want the bathroom floor sparkling, then you make it sparkling, right? So, but we need to understand that we are in the driving seat of our lives. People can't do things to us unless we let them make in feeling way. We are the ones that make ourselves feel happy, sad, angry. We are the ones that create that response. Someone sure might be saying something that's triggering us, but how we respond is how we respond. So in the same as with, our happy and our sad and our angry, but also our sexual responses and our sexual feelings are in that as well. So if you can feel not sexy, then you are making that happen. So you can make yourself feel sexy just as easy as you can make yourself feel unsexy. You can make excuses for why you're not sexy as much as you can make excuses for why you are. Like, it's all in your mind, right?
Yeah. It's really, I mean, it really is a state of mind.
Yeah.
It's sexy is a state of mind, and you're either going to walk around believing it and feeling it, or the opposite, and I've been, I see that because I've been on both sides. And I've also along the way realized how, I can fall back on old habits. And when I get busy and stressed and, all of this stuff is going on, I'm like, okay, now I got to, switch into this mode, and I got to do that mode, slay this dragon and do that. And da, da, da. I get away from kind of really protecting and preserving that feminine, sexy energy that I love so much. And that really makes me so happy that, when I'm more at peace when I'm in that lane than I am like, being the driver all the time. And so I know, I recognize like, whoa, boy, it's real easy to fall back on that. So I know what people go through. I know how hard it is, but it's just like with anything, anything that you commit to, whether it's your marriage, your relationship, your partner, your communication, your exercise, your health, your wellness, it does take a commitment and a concerted effort into just saying, this is important to me, and I'm going to do certain things every day to keep this, to be mindful and keep this on the forefront, of what's important. And it really, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's as little as like, you could be just like, okay, in the morning, when I get up, I'm going to take a quick little sexy picture, just like, it could be a selfie. What, you don't have to send it to anybody, but just you seeing yourself that way, you're like, okay, yeah, I got it going on. I feel good. All right, I'm ready to go. Or, or you get rid of that old frumpy, get rid of the granny panties, get rid of that 10-year-old bra that doesn't have any more support. Like, get rid of it. We have that, right? Everybody's got that.
Yeah.
Get something.
Call them boggy undies.
Right, that makes you feel good. Wear that under your clothes, even if it's just for you. You will bring out a different energy when you go out and move around in the world. Yeah. And I know that men pick up on that. They pick up, I always say, like, you got to turn your light on. When your light's on, men, they have a radar. Their little primal lizard brains are like, oh boy, like they will pick up on it. They can smell it out. Like, she's got something going on. I don't know what it is, but all of a sudden you'll notice the responsiveness of the opposite sex. And it's fun and exciting, and it makes you feel good, and so again, that just kind of it breeds on itself. And
I mean, even for people that are in relationships, that can be good for you too, having that nice underwear on, and then when you're getting undressed at night, like, he doesn't know that you've got it on underneath, and they'll be like, have you had that on all day? And get their minds going.
Or just, when you're out and moving around, and if your partner sees other people noticing you, that also creates excitement and tension and energy between the two of you, because all of a sudden your partner's like, well, hey, whoa, wait, well, this is the, that's mine. This is my wife, or my girlfriend, or my husband, or whatever,
primal, isn't it? I love that.
It's very primal. Yeah. We can't deny, those parts of us, and our sexuality is we're so deeply rooted in it. And it's weird that we don't want to admit it or acknowledge that this is important. It's very important that the touch and the connection and all the things that we get from it, it's not just like the actual act. It's
Yeah.
all the things that lead up to it and build into that are so important. So
Yeah. And I
yeah,
think even when we've had all this lockdown and isolation and everything like that, I think that's a very valid point, that it's not just the act, which sometimes is over pretty quickly. It's not just the act, it's everything else in between. And I just keep thinking in my mind that balance, like with all this lockdown we got down, so it's pretty much we're locked in a room working, and then we're locked in another room afterwards. And so I'm finding a lot of people are being anxious about then going out again and then going back to work and doing that thing. So I feel like we've lost that balance. And if we can get some of this sexual energy balance back again, it makes us like mindful, like you were saying, more mindful of our body and ourselves, and less focused on, all the drama that's going on around us. And I think it just brings a different energy. If I think about that, if I imagine myself doing that, it brings a different energy into that imagery than the image of me sitting at my desk and then sitting in my lounge room. You know what I mean? So
right. That's not really the image I think people that you want to have of yourself.
no. Yeah.
Right, that's not
Yeah, because of this whole shutdown, this is where people are stuck in. We're in this bubble, right?
Yeah.
So I really feel like, I feel like we've covered a lot today, and we've covered a lot of different areas. Hopefully, we've covered all the questions that.
I know. We really got going on. We really kind of went down a lot of roads this time, but yeah, I love that.
Yeah, me too. And so if somebody wants to continue the conversation, or, explore more, hear more from you, how can they contact you, or how can they reach out to you?
Yes. Okay. So the easiest way to get a hold of me is just to go to my website, which is thecuriousgirldiaries.com. All of my podcasts are there. The podcast itself is syndicated over all the major podcast syndicates. So if you type in the Curious Girl Diaries, you can find it. But if you really want to reach out to me, go to thecuriousgirldiaries.com. And what I really encourage people to do is you can leave me a voicemail. So if there's a really specific question that you have and you want advice on, leave me a voicemail. And guess what? I will get back to you probably within 72 hours, sometimes sooner. And actually, I will answer your question live. I'll consider all the aspects and boom, and I will address it for you. You can also email me too. Like if sometimes people are long-winded, which is totally fine. You can email me curiousgirl@thecuriousgirldiaries.com, and I will return your email very quickly and promptly as well. And then after 5.5 years, there's a lot of subjects I've covered. Review my podcast and look at the titles, because a lot of what people are going through and struggling with, I've gone through and struggled with myself. And I've put it out there. I've addressed it. I bring on wonderful, guest speakers to even shed more light to that are very specialized and finite in a lot of those subjects. Yeah. And so there's just the podcast itself is my journey, but it's also there to help other people. So, reach out to me. I'm here for you guys. I really support you, and I want you to explore your sexuality. I want you to make it a priority, because I really believe, and I know that once you put some focus, effort, and energy into that, a lot of this shit that you think is important and that is the problem, it isn't, and it's going to melt away.
Yeah.
Orgasms, good orgasms, and good connectivity with your partner. Yeah. And even with yourself, it cures a lot. It really kind of clears the way. So
an orgasm a day keeps the doctor away.
Totally. Whoever said the apple part, no, come on. That was PG hour. We're here to do some straight talk.
Thank you so much for coming here on the show
Yes.
and giving us your
Oh,
time. I know how busy you are, and you've done it twice because menopause brain didn't press record.
that's okay. That's okay. We all, stuff happens. Thank you so much. I'm so blessed to be here. And I just, my whole hope and my original intention behind the podcast and doing this was that I know that other people were struggling with this. And I really hope that I'm able to bring, give people some light bulb moments and inspire them, and something that I say resonates, and that they can just kind of go, okay, yep, that's it. I'm done. I'm going to turn the tide and move it in a different direction. So again, I'm here, and I'd love to hear from anybody that wants to reach out.
Yeah, that sounds great. And anybody that's watching on YouTube and Facebook, if you want to get access to all those links and all the other links to the speakers' gifts and how to connect with them, make sure you register. And that way we remind you when the next episode is live as well. And so that link will be in the description somewhere where you are watching today. And then it will take you to the speakers page. And then on that page, it will have all the links on how to connect and all the details of the person who's speaking on each of the episodes. And you'll get reminded on all the other episodes, plus ways in which you can watch all the episodes on demand. So thank you so much for being here today. I have absolutely loved this episode. And
yes, thank you, Jody. Thank you so much.
And I will see everybody in tomorrow's episode. Bye for now.
Bye.